Hello, everybody. Super good morning to everyone. Kevin Chan here, your host. Alright, so for this particular channel, that we're gonna talk about Chinese metaphysics, and today we are gonna explore a bit on the art of not killing the conversation too fast. Which I'm expert in killing the conversation, unfortunately. Right, so today you will see the reason why, right? So people with my type of profile usually kill stuff pretty fast, right? So hello, good morning, Manuel, Pepper, Guan Bun is around, Jocelyn, So, Stuart is around, Eclipse, PJ Kohack, Mabel. How are you guys all doing, right? So today is the Friday is weekend, right? So any plan for your weekend, right? So yesterday just went for a pickleball, right? Pickleball session, right? So right now the leg, the buttock all painful, right? So yeah, OH already is like that. Alright, so OH play OH game. right. So no, that was yesterday, right? So and what sort of news is on the thing on the horizon? Got any news? No, I don't think there's any big news that is happening, or I forgot about it already, so never mind. No need. No need to update on news, so nothing new, right? So we have talked about the typhoon, which is gone and gone, sinkhole, which is gone and gone. Any other thing happening? No, really don't have. Right. So hello Andy, how are you doing? Right. So yes, today we're gonna talk about the art of conversations, right? So this one is basically just to increase your database, especially on the 5 different profile, right? So the 5 different profiles, so that you understand a little bit, just add into the database for you, right? So learning like this sometimes would be a bit more faster, right, than actually trying to remember a ton of all the information, right? So no one actually improved their English by reading the dictionary, so I also don't encourage you trying to remember the definition of stuff in BaZi, right? So it's easier for you to learn through actual scenario. I just put it in a way, right? So come, let me shrink myself down to the tinier version of myself, right? So as usual, right? So I want to get in touch with me. Telegram is a good channel, right? So I also at times might put stuff inside for you to download, right? So then there is of course the monthly newsletter, right? So monthly newsletter is basically an email service, right? So you put in your email, from time to time, if there's anything that's going to be published, it's gonna go into your email box, right? So and then there's also the community channel, which is the Facebook channel, right? So those are all just what you call Chinese metaphysics enthusiasts. So if you're just starting out, you need a community to hug a bit, and please feel free to join, right? So come back, I'll just talk about the Substack. For some of you who are not very familiar, right? So Substack is basically a publishing platform. So it's for people who like to write, right? So you write, then it has a emailing service that if you put your email, you send, right? So like for example, right now what is happening is this is basically happening right now. So I am writing about the 2026 animal sign, right? So these are stuff like this. So what do I include in a general strategy for 2026, right? So then I will catch all, cover every single pillar, right? So you all like to ask oh, but what if my thing is in this pillar, what if my thing is in that pillar? Every pillar, so go and cover, right? So I will tell you, if your horse is this is horse, very cute, right? The Pauchi horse. The Pauchi series, right? So the Pauchi series, right? So I also give you a reference, those are the year whereby if you're born in those year, then you have a horse in your year, right? So then it's like if you're born in the month of June, highly likely it's going to be a horse. If you're born in, let's say 11 to 1 o'clock, then you're born in the hour of horse, right? So it will tell you, if you're born in the year of horse, what's the strategy? If you're born in the month of horse, what's the strategy? If you're born in the day of the horse, what's the strategy? If you're born in the hour of the horse, what's the strategy? So everything is covered really. So if you want to go and read it, so sign up for the Substack, then they will send you the email when the email publish. By the way, it is set to publish every either Saturday or Sunday, right? So for the next 12 weeks, so 12 weeks, about 3 months, right? If I'm not wrong. If my math still work, right? So 12 weeks, about 3 months. So it's gonna be October, November, December, just nice, right? So the 3 months, all your animal signs would have been published out, right? So if you want to read it, go and sign up, right? If you don't want to read it, it's fine. See, kill conversation fast. All right, right. So now back to today's topic, right? So if you taking a look at it, this is a BaZi chart. If you're not printed a BaZi chart, you can go typing Astro to get it printed. So today, as a reference, you will take a look at the percentage chart, right? So you take a look at percentage, right? So again, now when you look at the percentage, right, the one with the high percentage means competency. The one at the low percentage means couldn't be bothered. That's it. Right? It doesn't mean that the one that low percentage means you can't do it. It's actually is couldn't be bothered to do. So it's not that you cannot, but if you actually go and do, then you would probably require a bit of more push to do. Your resistance level is higher, right? So your resistance level is higher. This is like asking you to eat something that you don't like to eat. It's not allergy, yeah, right? So like some people, just cannot eat very difficult for them to eat sushi, right? So they just don't like raw food. Just put it in a way. It's not that they can't eat. It's just that if you ask them to eat, they rather don't eat all, right? It's like that, right? So if like somebody who like nasi lemak, go anywhere also eat nasi lemak, that would be the higher percentage. It's easier for them to do that. And if given opportunity, preference is for them to do that, right? So that gives them the competency. Also doesn't mean that they are outstanding at doing this type of stuff. Right? So it just basically measured your what I call general tendency, right? So general tendency under normal circumstance. So of course, again, sometimes you might feel like, oh, I may not have access to his BaZi chart. Then I always tell people it's a very simple thing. You just go and tell him that, hey, recently, I just got involved with this thing called BaZi, where it's analyzing a person's a birthday, right? So if you're interested, right, I can help you and take a look at it. Right, so a lot of people will be very, very kepochi and give you the birthday. They will give you the birthday. Right? You don't even need to force them to get it. It's actually pretty easy. Right? So you just tell them, just new practicing. A lot of kepochi will come find you. Don't tell me cannot get birthday lah. Right? So or else what happens is that if you are very good, you take a look at the behavior of the person, you can roughly guess. Right, so you can already roughly guess. So when you print the BaZi chart out, right, if eventually again one day when you print the BaZi chart out, right, so you take a look at it, oh yeah, that's how it works, right? So that's where you will basically start to see that, hey, this BaZi pretty awesome, right? So if I know this earlier, if I print the BaZi chart earlier, it will be easier for me to handle this particular person. Now when we talk about handle a person, another one more things that you need to know is that it is not to change the other person. It is no way for you to change the other person. The other person is always the other person. A lot of people have the wrong perception that I want to change the other person. Don't try to change the other person. There's no way for you to change anything, right? So but it's basically to adjust your own performance, your own behavior, so that you'll be able to utilize the other person's natural tendency. Right, so in the end, you just want to get something achieved, right? So that's your objective, right? So that's your objective, to get things achieved. How the thing is being achieved is actually less important, right? So it's like if you're hungry, you want a plate of what we call fried rice, right? As long as the plate of fried rice is delicious, right? Whether it's fried by a local, whether fried by or what we call a foreigner, right? It actually make no difference, right? So some people harping on, oh no, I'm talking about Penang. Right, so Penang is harping on, that oh no, those what we call hawker store, shouldn't be operated by what we call the foreigner, right? So I ask you lah, if the foreigner don't operate the hawker store, right, who's gonna operate it? The owner is too old already. His son don't want to, his son don't want to do the hawker store thingy. So how? You ask the owner to hack the recipe and go die lah. Doesn't work right? So that's basically the situation, right? So when you're having a conversation with fella, right, there is a reason for the conversation, right? Or else what the hell that you are talking to this person for? Right? You just want to reach the reason, right? So if it's easier for you to fish the other fella, then you fish the other fella, right? So no point changing the entire thing, just to suit, right? So don't do that, that's all, right? So if you want to do a conversation, first of all, don't use your style, use the other person's style, right? So the question is how to discover the other person's style, right? So now again, all this is basically what we call general knowledge I'm giving you. So which means that if you go outside, you know, you can actually find this information on your own. What I do is that I just interlace the Chinese metaphysics behind it, so that you understand when next time when you look at this particular element, you straight away will know that, oh, this one would include this sort of stuff inside. Okay, good, right? So no lah, Chinese people around me have idea that if let people know their BaZi is bad, secret out. No lah, I've dealt with enough keboji. I've dealt with enough keboji already. Yeah, right. So you just tell her, you take out the iPad, you start plotting BaZi chart, start talking to one fellow. The rest of the fellow will all gather. Then they will line up. Come on lah. Because half the people don't believe in this sort of stuff. All right, come, let's go again. Right, so no, now out of conversation, the entire reason for conversation is people cannot read your mind. That's it. Very easy conclusion, huh? Right, so if they can read your mind, what the hell they want to talk to you for? Right, they just look at you. I just look at you, then I know what this fella want already. Then no need lah. Right, so the entire reason for conversation. So from your perspective, it is actually to send enough information for the other party to make a decision. That's what conversation is for from your perspective. From the other person's perspective is to collect enough information for you to make a conclusion. That is what conversation are for. Okay, right? So that's what conversation are for. That is the purpose of conversation, which is to reach a state where you can take action. Right? So now the action can be anything else, right? So it can be anything else. Doesn't necessarily mean to be something that, you know, that is useful, right? So like two person talking about a movie, or the, you know, you guys love like the latest drama series, you know. Although I have not watched drama series for like ages. Right? Why do you want to talk about the drama series? You know, it's like, it's to reach agreements on the character inside the drama series. You know, one guy said that this character is bad, the other said good. So if to, you know, it's to send information to each other, to let each other know, you know, what's your thingy. Right? So that's it lah. Right? So that's the things, right? My Indian friends are just as interested in knowing what is in store for them in the BaZi chart. Yeah, correct. Right? So don't be surprised. I got a lot of Malay customers. Just, yeah, they come, you know. Instead of religion say, you know, cannot, you know, I also got a lot of Christian customer, right? So the most one that, you know, sorry to fellow Christian, right? So, you know, so those that come over say, oh, no, I'm a Christian, I cannot believe these sort of things. Talking to Jesus, you can believe, you know. So yeah, I'm gonna get struck by lightning, right? But anyway lah, okay, come, let's go in and take a look at this, right? So what is it, right? So now when you're now if you take a look at it, when you see that the eating god or hurting officer is on the high side, the problem with this particular fellow is oversharing, that's it. Right, so now when you talk about oversharing, right? So how do you deal with a person who like to overshare? First of all, let them share first. So if you have a hurting officer or an eating god, hurting officer, eating god, both also love sharing one. I just tell you first, both very creative and they got a lot of ideas, right? So, you know, it's just that hurting officer don't care who they share with. Eating god are very selective with sharing. So that's why a lot of time you feel like, people feel like eating god doesn't really like to share. But when eating god find the right people mean that they acknowledge that your intelligence level has past a certain threshold, minimum intelligence has been established, then they will talk to you. And they will have a lot of stuff to talk to you. Both of them actually also love talking, right? Right, so if you see a person who, you know, share, very highly likely the hurting officer or the eating god inside their chart is a little bit on the high side. So nothing wrong with it, right? So, you know, the bad thing about it is that, you know, they may dominate conversation, right? So, you know, they have the ability to dominate. So if you are the one that is having a very high hurting officer and eating god, it is normal for your mouth to keep on yapping. Normal, right? So this is for the other party, the other side. You know, if you see somebody yapping, and you happen to open up a BaZi chart, hurting officer, eating god, you know, very prominently, very active, right? So really, if the fellow talk is normal, if the fellow don't talk, that time you start worrying. Okay, right? So if it's you, then, you know, don't dominate lah. That's all. You yourself is very easy, ma. You just need to have sense of awareness, ma. Oh, I hurting officer, I EG very high, right? So when I go into conversation, because when I go into conversation, right, if you're hurting officer, EG very high, right? You go into conversation, you keep on yapping, right? You're just murdering the entire conversation. No one will talk to you, right? Right. Same thing also. If you go for a pickleball game, you happen to be, let's say, professional. Professional mean that those fellow who, I'll smash right. So those fellow who run to the front, and then like every single ball is like the other player murdered the entire family. You play around with those people before, it's like too serious. So very pro, very too serious. It's like you're playing with a bunch of amateur. Hey, come on lah. Just relax, just send the ball over to the other side, don't smash. Right. So no, it's okay that people don't want to play with you. How to talk with you, if you keep on dominating the conversation. Right? You can see. Right. So the art of talking right now is to understand the other party and then understand yourself. Right. So can say that GF Day Master is the most talkative of GF Day Master most talkative. Now you see GF Day Master Earth Day Master, so you would know that the output is basically metal. So metal are a precise energy. Precise blunt energy. Gung metal is very blunt, no? Right? So then the sin metal very precise, right? So they are not talkative, right? They are basically very precise, So if you say GF and also GF and WF is they don't talk. When they talk that time, it's basically to end the conversation. Tail end, they are one, they are very good at, let's say making conclusion. So making conclusion, then they're very good at that. So if a hurting officer person is in the luck, is in the luck pillar. If you luck pillar hurting officer, then during that particular period, easier to talk. Right, so easier to talk, right? So now again, if you have a hurting officer fellow, easier to talk. Okay lah, man. You just have to trigger the fellow to talk only, man. The fellow start talking, then blah 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 blah. Great, right? Great, right? Cool, right? Right. So how to stop the fellow from talking? So you know that resources basically counter, right? So hurting officer eating God don't like facts. Right. You want to stop them from talking, you start quoting facts. Right. So whatever that they say, right? So you just pull out the part that which is factual. That's it. Right. So you just start talking facts, start talking facts, start throwing facts. Then it will basically cut off their steam. They don't like the situation where everybody is just talking about facts, because they like to explore stuff. So you want to talk to a bunch of this fella, right? So you have to adjust to them. Like if you want them to talk, right, so you adjust to them, right? So adjust to them, encourage them, talking rubbish. You also need to be pretty rubbish, right? Help them explore, and of course, you guys know eating God hurting officers, somehow their face value or generally called vain ego is a bit high. So time to time, oh no, you're great, wow, this sort of, oh, I wouldn't have able to, that they are, it's like yay. Yeah, so happy, right? So then they keep on talking, right? So this is how you basically do. So if you're the guy, then you need to basically make a bit of an adjustment on all this kind of stuff, right? Understand, right? So right? So this is basically your right. So what we call your hurting officer in EG, the output, right? So then you have your wealth, right? So now wealth, you guys know that the wealth is basically somebody who is basically engaged. Your wealth is the energy where you attack outward. Right? So you attack outward. Wealth is what I counter, attack outward. Right? So now when we talk about labeling others, is wealth will form conclusion really fast. So that's why I tell you, wealth is among all the fastest in killing a conversation, is because you start talking 2 sentences, the fella maybe at the 7th sentence already. You already know what you want, right? So if you're talking to wealth people, please, conclusion first, no story, right? It's very easy, talk from the end, conclusion. So in the corporate world, it's basically executive summary, right? So so if you are dealing with wealth people, so by the way, corporate wealth people usually is the majority. especially the higher you go. The higher you go, the wealth is basically the majority. These are people who can deliver. Well, wealth people can deliver. So why do they label you? Now, because wealth people, a lot of time, they are a bit more, now, lacking of word, competent in getting things done, which means that they can get things done. So when they see your demeanor, the way that you do things, they're very fast. They're gonna label you as can do, cannot do, like this, like that. They're very fast in labeling because why? They couldn't be bothered with the rest of the thing. Right? So you see a well-star person, the mindset is, I just want to get things done. Right? I do not want to spend additional unnecessary resources, time, but into this particular thing. I just want to get rid of it. Right? Attack, right? So if you're going to attack something, right, do you want prolong? You want to chase the rabbit for like 3 days. Or, you want to, get everything ready, you just come out, stab the hell out of the right? So sorry for being a bit violent today, rabbit. So it's those are a situation, right? So can you basically see this thing also happening, right? So you see the companion star is basically what is countering the well star, right? So you see the well star doesn't like consensus. Please don't go democracy with well star fella. Well star fella most of the time is autocratic one. Right, so and they are very task-centric. So when you are task-centric, right, there is no such thing as democracy in task-centric. Do you ever ask permission from the task? You want to know the what we call the opinion of the task man? No, right? So you overpower the task, you get the task done. So that's why they don't really go by the socialism, democratism. For them is this one I can get done one. If I ask you to do, I expect you to be able to do it as well. No, there's no, all this kind of stuff doesn't want. Right? So I'm not dumb because I'm blonde. I could just die. Right? I'm not calling you dumb. It's just labeling. Right? So it's just labeling. So, your well star is very, very criminal for doing this. So, so that's why, if you are talking to the well star, start with the conclusion first. Right, which means that you talk to the well star, right? So you already confirm this fellow is a well star, right? Tell him what you want him to decide. You tell him what you want him to do first. What are the things that you want him to get involved with? Right? Then only you go for your question. Then only you go for your storyline. If not, big trouble. Right, so it's like like for me right. So people like to come over and ask you, oh, can I ask you a question? Now here's the thing, right? Can I ask you a question is already a question. Why do you ask this question without asking me a permission? So you are capable of asking question without permission, right? So why don't you straight away jump to asking the question that you want to ask? So why does the can I ask you a question ever exist? That is an unnecessary step. Make sense, right? Can I ask you a question? It's a question. You have never asked permission to ask this particular question, but you have already asked this question. So why don't you straight away go and ask the question that you want to ask? Right? Or more importantly is that you to tell him that, hey, I want to ask you this particular question is because this, right? So, and this is the question I want to ask you. If you do it in this particular manner, right, no well-star fellow will basically get angry with you. The fellow would directly tells you that it's either this is something that I can handle, or if this is not something that I handle, I can probably find you somebody who can handle mistake. Right? So or else you go through the entire grandfather story and everything. In the end, only he found out that this thing got nothing to do with me, and there is actually no resulting action that can be taken. Fool, I tell you, well-star fellow will slaughter you. Right, that's where you get label. That's where you get label, right? So you probably can run away this one. The next round you come near, right? I tell you that sticker is on your face already. Stupid fella, stupid question. Right. All right, so guys, sorry, because I got a lot of this label here, label there, right? So the good stuff also is about talking to well-star fella is that there's usually no feeling involved. Yeah, they are basically people with very, very little feeling. right? So which means that, you know, you can talk in any manner you like. The fella can only isolate useful stuff on it. Right, so not like some people, oh, don't like the tone that the fella, you know, well-staffed fella got no, don't like the tone. Right, so I just don't like the, you know, where you're trying to go with this, you know, because this doesn't involve me, you know. I don't, for lack of wording is, you know, I don't care about this stuff. Right? So it's not the rabbit that I wanna, you know, attack. You know? Yeah, you know, so I want to go and kill rabbit, you know, you keep on talking about the wolf. So I don't care about the wolf, you know, hit the rabbit. Right, can I understand? Right? So this is basically well-staffed. Right, so, you know, yeah, that means Kevin already labeled each of, can't label each of you lah. I don't know you guys. Now see, now this is where, you know, I'm gonna tell you the practical side, right? I don't know you guys. Right? So now to me, you all are basically what we call scrolling pixel. You know, so I tell my daughter pixel friend, I actually don't know you guys, you see. Right? So practically I cannot label you all. Right? Yeah, so you see, like, no, today, you know, you type here, tomorrow it could be your son typing. Correct or not? I don't know who you are. Over this particular screen, there's no way for me to know who you are. So now tell me, if I don't know who you are, would I spend time labeling or concluding you all? Right? So same thing also, now for some people that I meet, you know, very little, you know, it's like yesterday, you know, I just met with one of Malaysia's, you can call top influencers. Right, so, you know, some people will be very excited. I was like, hell, this could probably be the last time I ever see this guy. Got label or not? No label. Got expectation? No expectation. He's basically a blob to me. Right, sad, right? Sad, right? So, but if let's say that, you know, on the, you know, coming years, you know, so every now and then I keep on seeing this particular person, then, you know, then only I would basically, you know, change the attitude. Like, if not, you know, you're just basically a blob. You know, hi, hello, goodbye, bye, that's it. Right, we have met 2 years ago. Right, you have met 2 years ago. I don't know what is C-hack, like, wait, hello. Right, so C-hack, you should probably go into WeChat. Yeah, you check out WeChat. The WeChat, the name is not the person name one, you know. Yes, you know, the WeChat, you know, they like to put, you know, I'm a small grass looking at the sky. The hell I know who is small grass looking at the sky. I'm supposed to remember who is small grass looking at the sky. Okay, see, you know, so wouldn't bother too much. It's not that I'm cold, it's just practical. Right, so it's just practical. Now you see, a output star person without the support of a well star is a person who has a lot of things to say but don't do enough. Makes sense, huh? Right? So, you know, it's a lot of things to say but the fella don't do enough. Right? So for the what we call, for the for you to be, let's say, for you to be competent, for you to earn money, you need to have enough idea. Right, so for your idea to flourish, you need to have enough money. Right, so don't use money, like execution, ability of execution, which is what the well-star have plenty. Right, so well-star is basically the all of this. They are the one who basically does a lot of execution. Go and do. So that's why a lot of time well-star is, you know, their achievement usually is a little bit more higher because of their natural tendency to engage, attack. Right, so, you know, for you to own stuff, you need to attack. There's no way for you to go there, you know, auntie, you know, look, like I really love the golden bangle that you have. Do you think, you know, it's possible for you to just give it to me? Work or not? Right, so, or else the normal thing that we tell people, you know, auntie, you know, I'm somebody who has a lot of idea, aspiration, you know, and also ambition, you know, can I have the bowl of white wonton mee for free? And just smack the hell out of you. Right, so this is basically well-star, right? So, you know how to talk to well-star? Conclusion first. So if you are the well-star fella, right? If you are the well-star fella, you know, please, if you are going through a conversation, can you go and ask the fella, you know, what's the purpose first? Why do you need me to get involved first? Right, so, you know, it's like, you know, I often get complaint, you know, somebody, you know, asks a question. Somebody has asked a question, you know, my brain straight away is there. What's the purpose of asking this question? right? So and that's it. It's right, looking at the fella, it's like, when I ask this question for, right? So I have to hold back lah, right? So you see, I have to hold back because I want the conclusion doesn't mean that the other party, is in rush for a conclusion, especially, if you have a, again, hurting officer eating God. So you know the fella hurting officer eating God is a bit of the same. Let the fella talk lah, right? So let the fella talk, yep. Give him some time, some time in that maybe 5-10 minutes. Before you take the big butcher knife and go. Don't start first, don't the fella start 2 sentences only, you straight away butcher knife the fella. Straight away cut ma, right? So that's why understand the other party. So if you know that you're working with well-staffed fella, conclusion first, the rest of the grandfather story later. Right? So the fella want to know how can he contribute to this. Right? So even if they say that, I just want you to listen to this. That is a conclusion, and it's a conclusion that the fella can do. Right? So it's like, then the fella just listen to you. Right? Done. It's like that only one. Right? It's pretty easy, right? Right? You have the cold, cynical look that drives people away. That's typical how well-star is, right? So that's really typical how well-star person basically is. A lot of time is pretty, cold, right? It's like machine, right? So then you got your influence star, right? So you got influence star, right? So influence star is a bit judgmental, right? So what you call, stand on moral high ground. I got standard, I got standard, right? So basically they work with rules and regulation. The reason, right? So the reason why they are a little bit more judgmental, or they are basically usually on moral high ground, is again, the energy that they are facing is an external to internal attack. It's very different from internal to external attack. Internal to external attack is that you can choose not to attack. But when it's external to internal attack, there's no choice. You have to respond. Okay, it's not like, I choose to whether, I want. No, right? So you just imagine all the war, like Ukraine, so the Russia decide to attack Ukraine. Ukraine got choice, man. Do you think Ukraine got choice? No, Ukraine doesn't have choice, right? So you still have to respond. So if you are placed in a situation long enough, right? So you start to learn that there are certain rules and regulations, right? So you start to what we call understanding the Tao of the universe. Right? So this is what this particular person influence, right? So they know that through, all this engagement that, if you do this, this is basically what will happen. So basically they are telling you that, I told you so, right? Or told you so type of thing, right? So it's very natural for you to be judgmental. Right? Because why? You already seen this repeating long enough. So that's why I tell you rules and regulation is there because some shit has happened before this. And that's why they implemented the rule and regulation so that the future people do not repeat the same shit. Make sense, right? So for people who basically got the rules and regulation, their judgmental is normal law, right? They are basically people who have went through it. Like, for example, if you don't study, so it's very judgmental. If you don't study, you will fail in your life. It's a very judgmental thing. It's very moral high ground. Some people say that, it's not that I don't want to study. Confirm is because you don't want to study. Right. So yeah, if you really don't, now when we talk about don't study, right, it is not we are not talking about the university level. No. We're really talking about recognizing character, literature, recognizing character, maths. Very basic stuff, which means that it's your primary school, secondary school kind of things. The one that give you the ability to actually read, calculate. Very important. So if let's say that so the idea is like this, if you cannot even endure the suffering of study, which for most of us who have already been into the real life, right? Tell me, is the real life challenge tougher or studying is tougher? Reading book is tough, man. Right? For those of us who have already went through this. So now if you see a youngster, who couldn't be bothered to even read book, what do you think the future the youngster have? If you cannot even survive the toughness of study, what other toughness in life that do you think you will survive? None. Study seems to be like the most relaxing thing that you can ever do. Easy. Correct or not? If this easy thing also you cannot survive, right? How are you going to survive out? So that's why, sometimes, so touch a bit on the romance and love side, right? So, if you're going to find a partner, right? So really find somebody who have already graduated from uni. It's not because that the person graduate from uni, it is more superior than the person who have not graduated from uni. It is because that, the fella can survive the 3 grueling years of going through university. So again, same logic. If you cannot survive that 3 years in uni, which is actually pretty easy, you think this fella is going to be able to survive life? How many more challenges do you think life will throw at you? And you're going to be with somebody who cannot survive uni, and you think that the fella can survive life, right? So for somebody, who DO7 killing very high one, if they look at you, right, they straight away they're going to pass a sentence that you're going to fail. Wrong. No, it's not wrong. Okay, right? So my DO7K both 98%. I always talk rules regulation. At the same time, I realize inflexibility. Yes, correct. A problem may be a bit inflexible, right? So yeah, real life is actually more treacherous than you ever think. Right? So now this is like, now you see, that's why, the judgmental fella 7K, they don't really like hurting officer. Right? The fella is like, full of dreams, it's like, no, don't have any repercussion, You are talking to a bunch of fella who has always been, for lacking of better word, oppressed by the external energy. Right? So if you're oppressed by the external energy, right, you want everything to be as tight as possible, as controlled as possible. Correct or not? It's to reduce oppression. Right? The more I understand, right, so the better the thing is. Right? It's correct or not? Right? So now, so if you are, talking to this sort of fella, you need to know the boundary. That's it. You just need to know the boundary of this particular fella. So now, again, different people got a different boundary, right? So, all these kind of things. So a lot of time, maybe there is a lot of social standard that you need to understand, right? So some social standard that you need to understand, right? So stuff like that, you need to know lah. All right, so pretty easy. So if you are the DO and 7 killing, so Nihilus has already said, not the Nihilus side, whoever said that, very Wang, all right, so Wong Fok Pan said that, very inflexible. You need to be a bit more flexible, right? So you need to be, especially, those are not life and death situation. Right? So you understand, if it's in military, there's actually no room for you to explore stuff, right? Because why? If you go and explore stuff, you usually die, right? So that's in military, especially you're in battlefield, right? Military in battlefield, there's no room for you to imagine, right? So if you are asked to shoot the other party, you shoot. There's no way for you to take a look at scope, right? And then, oh yeah, what if this particular person has family that's waiting for him? Oh no, these kids, right? So these are just young little kids only, young little kids won't do this sort of treacherous thing, right? Go and look at Vietnam War, right? All the damage is done by kids. They are trained to come and whack you. So how? Right? How to win the trust, or how to win over direct wealth people, right? So again, no, direct wealth people don't tell you already, Get with the conclusion first. You get with the conclusion, you basically tell them what is the agenda that's required, what they are fine with it. Right? So then, 7K DO people, you respect the boundary. So which means that you need to find out about the boundary. Usually it's openly published, by the way. DO7 killing boundary is usually openly published. Okay, right? So very easy to find out. Or straight away ask, right? So straight away ask, are you comfortable, doing this sort of stuff? Yeah, right. So it's basically this sort of fella. So that's why DO7 killing usually is very protective. They have a big brother, so law, they have a protective aura. Right. So don't step outside the boundary, right? So but the challenge is finding the boundary, you see. The challenge is finding the boundary. Right? Yeah, you can catch up and replay itself. Right. So now for you, if you are the 7 killing direct officer, please come down from your moral high ground, right? So understand that, you know, other people may not care about your moral high ground. This stuff may be very important to you, but it's not important to anybody else. Right? So no point, right? So no point, you know, in doing that, right? So which means that, you know, if you have a subject that is very strong and contested, you may not want to pull in a DO or 7 killing in the conversation. Right? Very fast it will escalate into a fight, right? Just because the place that the fellow standing on, you know, the place don't want to budge. That's it. That's all. Right? Leave them alone. What I said is, you know, normal circumstances, you know, you've got strong DO 7 killing, just leave them alone. Right? So let them be at their own demise. For you, you know, again, right? So DO 7 can become more practical after encountering many external attacks. Practical, pragmatic, they tend to stick to a very narrow menu of action. Okay, yeah, no. So it's like very easy example is that, you know, if there is a electric fence, right? So if there's an electric fence, there's actually an experiment that's actually being done using red. Right, so you know, if you turn left, you know, you get electrical shock. You turn right, then, you know, it's fine. You know, then they basically do this. You start to remember the path. So which means that if you touch on the fence, if the fence zap you, very fast you will learn to not to touch the fence. That's basically DO and 7 killing. Right, so they basically, you know, does that. You know, they are very strong survivor. Right, so they are very strong yellow. So challenge is to find out their boundary. They don't want overly tell, and I try not to impose my own value. Definitely don't impose your own value with the DO and 7 killing. Right, so you know, they don't like, they have no, again, moral high ground is they have, you know, full of themselves. Nothing wrong one, right? So you need these people to protect the boundary. You need these particular people to protect the boundary, right? So now you got your resource staff, you know, ask too much, do too little. Right, so no, you guys have the, you know, the are we there yet kids inside the car. I lost mine already, you know. My son used to be the, you know, the are we there yet, you know. So right now, nah, no more already. My daughter definitely won't have a conversation with you in the car right now. Right. DO 7 to get attack in or attack out. It's a defensive attack. It's Jocelyn is more a triggering attack. The one that will attack out automatically is Wellstar. You also think Wellstar is, you know, it's like, hey, good. No, Wellstar is a conquering star. Right. So the DO 7 killing is actually a protective star. Right. So, you know, it will whack if you come too near to the boundary, it will whack. And their whacking is usually much more harder than Wellstar, because what Wellstar is, they whack if they know that they cannot take you down, the fella will conserve resource and, you know, change target. Whereas the DO 7 killing, no, you come, you know, I'll make sure that you will never come back again, smack you until you die. That's basically DO 7 killing. Right, so, you know, resource staff. Now, resource staff is that they are generally, you know, especially in direct resource, they're very curious. You know, they like to ask questions, they like to find out, right? So now, to some people, this may be feeling like compassion. You know, the fella care, right? So, you know, the fella asks a lot of questions, you know, that's a lot of stuff, you know, it's very soft, you know, it's like, you know, they are like, they are very interested in you, right? So it's pretty awesome to be with a resource star fella until things need to be done. Wellstar counter this one, right? So they actually like the entire idea of, you know, discussion, safety, research, finding out, but when you really come to getting things done, their execution ability a bit more cha. So that's why there is always a very big gap between academician, right? So theory versus practical, right? So, you know, you can see that, you know, there's a lot of professor, you know, all this kind of thing. These professor rarely are rich as compared to, you know, rich people. A professor, you know, all this kind of thing rarely are rich, right? So especially if you have professor that's basically teaching economic, so yeah. But you have people who are not economic literacy people who actually run the country economics. It's very funny, right? And usually these people who are not in economics, they are usually more right than the people that's in economics. Why? Right, so because, you know, again, academicians like to collect data, right? So they collect data mean that they collect things that has already been done. Data is generated by things that's already been done. Okay, right? So, you know, yeah, so they are basically tailing end of everything. Right? So nobody's great talking to them. How is somebody with IR and IW behavior like? A bit higher in terms of chance taking. They are a bit higher in terms of chance taking. Right? So they will take a lot more chance, and, you know, IW would be very, very opportunistically lazy. It's called, right? Opportunistically lazy. Right. So again, nothing wrong with it, right? So, you know, if you know this sort of fella, you know, this you know, IW one, you know, you got scam, you know, you introduce to them. There will be the, you know, if you have IW, I tell you, there will be the people who would jump into any new MLM that basically come out, right? They will jump into it because they can see the opportunity of being the early adopter in an MLM scheme. MLM scheme, like how you do, right? You know, the early adopter, you know, because they get paid by the late adopter. Later come in is the one that basically get into trouble. And so they will see them, you know, jumping from one MLM to another MLM. So I tell them it's new MLM, they'll go lah. Right? So new scam, you know, new coin, you know, they'll basically go. Right? So did not take kids to school in the morning. Different school. Right, different school. The school is beside my in-law house, so no need, just throw in in-law house, right? The fella can sleep, then finish sleeping before the school starts, to walk over. Yeah. Your daughter doing it for you now, doing what, you know, driving? No lah, Peggy, no lah. My daughter usual lah. The daughter at the school, you know, you can throw him into the school very early. Right, last time it's just because the sun, you know, it's a bit different, right? So it's a bit different, right? So again, you know, back to resource. You know, if you're talking to resource staff, talk longer. That's it. Very simple. Just drag the conversation. Yeah, you know, if you know that the fella is resource staff, just drag the conversation. That's it. You know, let the fella linger a little bit more. So that's why, you know, if you're working with resource fella, right, it's like you're feeling like damn slow. Now, nothing wrong with it. They are just trying to be safe. Right? So, you know, for resource staff, safety is very important. They are very, very scared of, you know, unsafe situation. Right? So survive, you know, they want to survive. So if you are a resource staff person, ask less question. Right. So again, all right. So when you ask that particular question, ask yourself, you know, what action am I, you know, is supposed to take with this? You know, sometimes no action, right? So if sometimes no action, and then you might want to just inform the other party that, you know, hey, you know, this information, I'm really serious, I'm not going to do anything about it, but, you know, I just want to find out. It's fine, right? So again, you know, if you make your intention clear, it's basically quite okay. Right, so, you know, so now again, because, you know, again, you like to ask questions, right? So sometimes we find resource staff people is not very participative, right? So, you know, generally you have to force resource staff people to talk on, right? So you got resource staff fella, you have to force the fella to talk, you know, as in, you know, you need to know the next one to talk is you. So right now you prepare what you want to talk first. So I'm talking about in a meeting situation. If you are with your friend, then, you know, it's a bit difficult. Right, so now you can say that, oh no, this one is very I wanted to hear your opinion. Later we circle back to you, right? So you tell this to a resource staff person. If you want the resource staff person to open mouth, you need to kill the resource staff person. You know, the next one is you. I kill you. You know? So no, not KILL, kill. Right? Kill the fella, tell him that, you know, oh no, I want to hear your opinion. So if you know that that fella is a resource staff, you need to create the situation to give him the platform. Right, so a mixture of 1 to 3 structure in me, right? Not fixed in one structure. So there are going to be a few of them that which is stronger. So aim for the stronger one. Right, so if you are a resource star person, again, you know, direct resource totally different from HO. Yeah, they are opposite one, right? So HO EG is able to create without anything backing. Right, so resource star, you know, it's like it creates only if you have backing. It produces if you got backing. That one produce got no back, right? So that's why the what we call the HO and EG usually is a bit more fun. They're a bit more fun, right? They're a bit more fun, they're a bit more crazy, right? So you want fun and crazy thing, right? Go find HOEG. Don't find direct resource. But if you want something that's very safe, you know, very steady, then, you know, probably the resource star fellow would be great lah. Right? So, you know, again, if you are talking to resource star fellow, you know, that discovery journey can be a bit more longer. Give them some room and time, you know, whatever it is, right? So then you have your companion. So companion, you know, like, you know, they are the people who are very their objective is acceptance, right? So they want to be part of the, you know, part of the group, right? So, you know, so a lot of time they usually, you know, agree with everything. Even if you don't agree with it, they agree with everything, right? So, you know, so if you need support, find companion staff, they're usually very supportive of you, right? Super supportive of you, right? So group B, you call group B. HO is quite an instigator. And I don't know whether you call instigating or not. The fella is just expressing his inner thought at that moment without considering too much about repercussion. Right? You might feel, no, because you feel it's instigating because, you know, you have certain worry of repercussion. So when the fella touches certain thing, you feel like it's instigating something. But in actual sense, no lah. The fella is sometimes very innocent. Right? Hurting officer sometimes very innocent. The fella just exploring only, right? So it's perfectly okay, you know, if you ignore HO one, you know. They are perfectly fine one, you know. Right? So again, they also don't hold a lot of grudges on you and HO. Right? So they just, you know, want to have their, you know, they just want to have their stage time. So, you know, back to, you know, this one, you know, companion and also Rockwell, right? So the companion star, right? So now when we talk about their, you know, yes guy, doesn't mean that they really yes on everything. It just means that they usually try not to contradict the group, right? So if let's say they're the group, right? So now you want AKA called democracy socialism. It's the companion star fellow. Right? So it's basically the companion staff, right? So, you know, they generally they will try to please the you want to say the bigger group or the more powerful party, right? The more powerful party inside the group, you know, they generally would you know, like to have that, right? So they are very strong on what you call consensus. Now, it doesn't mean that, you know, they are autocratic. The autocratic well star mean that the fellow will go on even without your support. Companion star won't do that, right? Companion star will not do that. You know, companion star a lot of time will try to, you know, let's say, oh no, if this one cannot, you know, let's change a bit. So sometimes we call them lalang. Lalang, you know, it's the grass. Right? Companion star a bit more lalang. Companion people supportive to the point of being hypocritical. No, I think the word is a bit on the self-sacrificial, right? So, you know, it's like they can put themselves aside just to please the people around them. So that's why a lot of time you may see them as a yes man, right? You may see them basically as a yes man, right? So it's basically, so if you need support, you know, we can find this sort of people. I know they're very supportive, right? So, but the dangerous part of it is that, again, they may be somebody who does not really have their own opinion, which is dangerous. So now, if you are the companion people, you know, stop trying to be a yes man, right? So no, again, stop trying to be a yes man. You know, it's, you don't have to agree with everything. No, it's like, oh no, agree with everything. I'm very scared. What if, no, they abandon me? Abandon me. No loyalty. It's actually the other way around, you know. They can have a high tendency of putting their loyalty into the wrong place. It's not that they don't have loyalty. They actually are pretty loyal, fella. Companion staff, groupie, right? So they are very loyal, but they can be loyal to the wrong place. So you can see, the what again, the DO and 7 killing is basically countering them on. Can you see that DO 7 killing is usually in measurement of leadership? So if the DO and 7 killing is wrong, and you know, sometimes the DO 7 killing can be wrong, then, you know, you will have a bunch of wrong companion star. DO 7 killing controls companion, right? So they all can, you know, go the wrong direction, you know, because of, you know, being pressured by the wrong thing, right? They're being pressured by the wrong thing, and a lot of time they are very easy to get pressure, right? So again, you know, so if you take a look at, you know, all the riots, all these kind of things, you know, that is happen for normal people, and right. So you can see that there is always, like you said, there's some instigator, right? So somebody who know that this group of people is easily triggered, right? So you know, I use the somebody to trigger, right? Can see, right? So it's the, you know, the Journey to the West story. You know, I tell you that, you know, why there are always this you want to call small people, petty people in the system, and then, you know, the emperor, why they don't get rid of it, because the emperor need this sort of petty people to do certain thing that the emperor cannot get their hand dirty on, or cannot be caught with the hand dirty. You need this sort of fella, right? So, and you know, most people in the world are, you know, basically they don't want to start trouble, right? So this is for structure for the entire party chart. I think we can analyze this. Yeah, you can do pillar by pillar, right? So you want to do pillar by pillar. So which means that if we take a look at it, you know, if let's say year pillar is strong friend star one, which means in a social setting, the fellas can be very inagreeable. But let's say that, you know, the year pillar is a companion star, but the work pillar is a DO, right? So when it's at work, you don't see that that particular easygoing personality at work, right? So you can basically do that. And so that's basically a valid way of doing things. Lucky I have 7 killing in the day, right? Hour, but main profile is friends, right? So main profile is friends, at least externally people find you to be approachable, right? So externally they're very approachable. Can resource assist DO and 7 killing and reflect on their boundaries. The way that you see this kind of thing is that if you want to maintain something, you need something, right? So you need to maintain something, basically you need something, right? So like for example, if you want to maintain output DO HOEG. So HOEG is basically very creative. You call it dreamy, right? So if you want to maintain your dream, you need to have action. If you don't have action, you cannot maintain your dream. Make sense, right? So, you know, if you take a look at, you know, wealth star, money, right? So easier money. If you need money, you need to have power. Yeah, if you got money, you got no power, either two things happen. One thing is that you will squander all the money away, or somebody else will come and con your money. Right? Power is discipline. I can see if you got money and you have no discipline, what happened to the money? Gone. I can see all the money basically gone. Right? So if you have power, you need intelligence. Somebody with power will need intelligence, or else you will be shooting the wrong place. Right, so can you see a powerful nation, usually the, you know, the CIA, the intelligence side, you know, is very, very strong. So you want to maintain one thing, you need the others, right? So, you know, if let's say that you want knowledge, you want a lot of knowledge, you want to gather a lot of knowledge, you need a lot of companion. You need a lot of people around you, right? Because if you just use yourself, you want to gather knowledge, you're going to be too slow. Right, but if you got a group of people, so of course, you know, right now the group of people is social media and also, you know, internet. Last time, you know, if you're in a town, you wanna, you know, you want to be you want to find out a lot of things, right? You cannot be traveling all over the places. It's dangerous. What happens is that you need a lot of people to come and send you information. So which means that you need to go and befriend a lot of friends, right? So, you know, so you know, if you have this particular companion star, you need direction, vision, which is what is given by output and also things. So can you see, if you want to maintain the cohesiveness of companion star, you need to have vision. If you want to maintain your dreamy state, you need to have money. If you want to maintain your money, you need to have power and authority. You want to maintain power and authority, you need to have knowledge. You want to have a lot of knowledge, you need to have a lot of people around you. Can you see that, you know, it is just a cycle? So ask yourself, what do you want now? Right? So, you know, ask yourself what do you want. So, you know, if let's say that, you know, you want to you just want to earn money, not maintain, then you need to have a lot of creativity. So to find out which basically can earn money. So if you want your idea to, you know, basically flourish, you need a lot of support. Right, so, you know, if you want your, you know, what we call your community to be more cohesive, you need to know, you need to have some form of knowledge, right? So you want to create knowledge, you need to face the thing, right? So, you know, the fastest way for you to create knowledge is to bump the head on the wall, right? How do you know that, you know, rabbit is not dangerous, whereas wolf is dangerous? Go poke the wolf and go poke the Understand? You want power and authority, you need to have money. Yeah, right. Power and authority need to pay people, you know. What you think the army, you know, no need to eat rice? Army need to eat rice and no need to pay, no? Right? So you want to be the general, but you think the army work for free? Come on. Right? So can you see everything basically just, you know, grow each other. Right? So again, back to this one. Right? So, you know, if you are in a, you know, conversation and you see, you know, this sort of people, you know, if you have access to the BaZi chart, if you don't have, right, rough guess. Make rough that if you talk them long enough, you basically know, you know, some people are, you know, let's say that this particular person is a little bit more quiet, right? So a little bit more quiet, right? So you already know this might be a resource fella or maybe a companion. Right? So a companion fella is like this, when people start talking about that particular topic, or this fellow will chip in that topic, right? Then, you know, if the topic switch to another fellow, right, this fellow will chip in to that topic, right? It seems to be agree with everybody. The fellow doesn't seem to have any contradictory opinion. Then you know that this is a bit of a friend star fellow, right? So you know that. If I need your idea to materialize, so you need what to do? Just eat your word. Or just now eat your word. Which idea is it? Right. So if you need the idea to materialize, AG has shown, so you need execution, the ability to go and execute. So which is well star, right? So well star execution. So that's what you need. Right? Well star is basically is the executor. Attack one is executor. Right? So it's that. Cool, right? So this help you out a little bit in terms of the overall conversation understanding. Right? So if you're able to give the other party what the other party want, usually the other party will be easier to talk. Right? So easier to talk, right? So you have to temporarily suppress your need and allow the other party's need to manifest. Doesn't mean allowing the other party to, you know, continue. Does not mean allow the other party, you know. So you just need to, you know, give that. Right, Ken? You know, pretty easy. Right. So hopefully this one help. You know, my intention is for you to add into your database. So right now, you know, when you're looking at the person from the perspective of BaZi chart, you know, straight away you can know that, oh, so in a conversation, the fellow would behave in such a manner. Makes sense, right? So then when you read BaZi chart, that time, you know, is more meaningful. So you know already, okay, so this fellow has this sort of conversational templates. So, you know, if I want this fellow to open their mouth, you know, I need to put them in a situation whereby they are comfortable. So you need to put them in their situation that they, you know, they basically like. Give them, let them talk a bit, you know, before going into the serious topic, right? So yeah, you do that. Cool, right? So, you know, please don't every single time go into conversation my style. Okay, I'm reminding myself. Right? Not everybody need an answer. Okay, right? So some people are just there to, you know, just there to talk rubbish. Okay, guys, that's it. See you all. Bye.